Alex Hormozi is very, very good at creating systems, and I think that that's part of why he is so successful.
He launched Gym Launch, a consulting business that helps gym owners fix their systems, boost revenue, and attract clients.
Crowned the king of short form video when he originally started creating content.
So Alex says that your offer should be so good, people feel stupid saying no. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Clout Podcast. Today, we are diving into the story of Alex Hormozi. He is an entrepreneur who has mastered the art of scaling businesses. I am Montana. I am your host. And as always, we have the team with us.
I'm Blake.
I'm Logan.
And I'm Nate.
So today, before we dive into the lessons, I want to talk a little bit about who Alex Hormozi is. And I feel like you guys know a lot more about him. So Logan, can you give us a little bit of information about him?
Yeah, so Alex Hormozi started his entrepreneurial journey in the fitness industry, running gyms and learning the hard way how difficult it was to scale. He launched Gym Launch, a consulting business that helped gym owners fix their systems, boost revenue, and attract clients. After scaling that to over $100 million in revenue, he pivoted to acquisition.com, where he helps businesses across industries grow by focusing on systems, customer retention, and irresistible offers. On top of that, he's authored 100 million offers and built a massive following by sharing his business strategies for free. So, Nate, you followed Hormozi for a while. What stands out to you about his journey and what he does?
I think Alex Hormozi is a really standout individual. I think that he was probably crowned the king of short form video when he originally started creating content. I remember very specifically that when people were looking for edits for their short form video, they were actually saying, "I want Hormozi style editing." And I think that kind of says it all because he really pioneered short form video and he did it in a very systematic way. Alex Hormozi is very, very good at creating systems. And I think that that's part of why he is so successful. And when he created Gym Launch, he created a lot of different systems that were very repeatable for all the people who were interested in joining his program. So what he did, which was really fascinating, was he created SOPs for the gym owners. He ended up creating different sales materials. He ended up creating different offers, all for these gym owners who wanted to join his program so that they could find success very easily. And I think that was super smart of him to do all of that. And I think that that's something that we can take into our business, as well as anybody else who's interested in entrepreneurship, is the way to really standardize the types of procedures and the operations that everybody's all working on collectively. So I think that's probably what stands out the most to him. Have you seen any of his short form or long form content recently? I know he's kind of changed it up a little bit, but what do you think about it?
I remember his content with him and the little nose strap thing, and that's kind of what got my attention. And I was like, why is he wearing that thing? This guy looks foolish. And I mean, it just goes to show that doing something a little bit differently, gets people's attention. And I actually see other people make content with this little nose thing too. And it's actually kind of funny how he's, pioneered this style, the Hormozi style of content and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So Nate, you kind of touched on it a little bit ago when you were talking about what he kind of did with his business, but he's big on building systems, and that's like what you love. So why do you think that building systems resonates so much with entrepreneurs?
Because I feel like it's a very undervalued skill. And I think that it is able to make things look very simple. And I think that it takes a lot of work. And there's a lot of people who may not understand how the software works initially. And I'm speaking about the entrepreneurs who are interested in systems or think that they don't need them. I think that everybody could use a system. But the thing is let's say somebody who is a local business owner or somebody who is managing a couple clients through their business can have some sort of process that they do. And believe it or not, that's pretty much a system. If you're constantly doing the same thing over and over again for somebody, that's considered a system. But where the thing changes drastically is when you're able to leverage software and connect the dots through different platforms using something like Zapier, right? If you're able to have somebody come into your process and you can automate a complete onboarding for them. So as soon as they're signing contracts or whatever it is, they get a new notification via text message or email that is telling them what the next steps are. It increases the amount of touch points that you're able to provide to somebody who's coming into your ecosystem, as well as it gives them a very streamlined system that they can follow. So as a business owner or entrepreneur in that situation, you could really scale your business by using an automated system like that. And that's exactly what we do when we're dealing with people who are interested in listing content as well as digital content. So when somebody makes an order, this automatically goes into our Omni system, CRM, and we have a whole bunch of different follow-up systems that's hitting them with emails, text messages. It's a different journey for people who are new clients, and then there's a different system and journey for people who are repeating clients. So all those different things are something that I personally enjoy, when talking about systems and just kind of relating it with what we do today. Yeah. So the thing is when creating these different systems, you have to really understand the customer journey. And we actually use them in our business. And the way that we do that is when we have somebody who's interested in listing media, or if we have somebody who's interested in digital products, such as like our branding or social media management type stuff, those people are automatically going to different systems, and we're able to track them during different stages of the pipeline. And when you even dive deeper, there's more journeys that take place, right? So somebody who's interested in listing media, if they're a new client, they're going to get a completely different set of emails initially than somebody who's a repeating client, right? So as soon as somebody comes on boards, they get all the information about who we are, how to make or request revisions, how to access their content, all the stuff that they need to do in order to take the deliverables and go ahead and get their listing started. All of that stuff is detailed out A to Z. So it makes it very easy for people. It doesn't matter where we are or where somebody's coming from. If they make an order, they're going to get this repeatable system. And I think that just being able to create stuff like that is going to be really important for anybody who is running their business, because ultimately, if you're trying to scale it and you're trying to manage a bunch of clients and you want to provide the utmost service, it's going to be with the systems that you have in place.
No, I totally agree. That's so good. And that's what he's so good at. So, Logan, you also have been in situations where scaling quickly is key, and systems help you scale. And I feel like that's why you guys work so well together, because, you guys do complement each other. So how do you think Alex Hormozi's ideas apply to what we're doing at Clout?
Absolutely. When you think about scale, it's truthfully scaling with systems. And in order to scale, you have to have an incredible customer journey and an experience where they want to come back. And from what Alex Hormozi offers his clients is proven systems that work, right? And this works with sales systems. This works with client management systems and project management systems and all these different things. So we're totally aligned with what Alex Hormozi is doing, what he's offering businesses. And, it comes with experience. And, over the last 6 years, we've built really powerful systems that are easily repeatable, and all our team follows them, and it allows us to give that experience to to our customers.
Totally, I love that. Blake, you're out in the field and you are managing challenges as they come. Do you see systems as something that could simplify your role, or do you have systems? Because we do a lot of the back end stuff, but what's going on in the wild?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that with these certain systems that we use day to day in terms of uploading content and kind of eliminating that headache. Before, there was a shooter would go shoot and there was no way to get it to our editor without going through myself. So this system that we created it kind of just expedited this entirely to the fact that there's a listing form that they submit that sends to our team, and our team goes through and then we edit it, and then all of these back-end systems come into production. But in terms of the power of them, I mean, it saves ample amount of time and headache from A to Z, because you're kind of removing that person i.e., me that was in that role, to something that saves my time and energy for something that is better spent on.
Absolutely. I wanted to chime in here, and if for those of you watching or listening in, trying to think, I mean, if you don't have systems and trying to think of really what a system is, it's really coming up with something that takes care of those repeatable tasks that are so mundane that get you off task from switching to, from task to task. So, think about the things that you do over and over again, and how can you automate that with different tools and powers online.
Yeah, can I tell a story real quick?
Yes.
Heck yeah.
I remember like so many times even when we lived together, we were using these very large files to go record. And there were these Ninja files, and we had a bunch of photos, videos. So it probably wasn't fiber or even close, but it was all right. It was San Francisco Wi-Fi. But we ended up trying to upload all this stuff, and I remember so many times we would wake up, or Logan just sometimes would fall asleep. I think he probably fell asleep a lot of times, but there's sometimes he'd fall asleep, and then the content wouldn't go out, or we would see the content didn't finish uploading when we woke up at like 6 a.m. and our editors are questioning where the content is. So I remember just going in and seeing the difference that we were able to have when using a system like Asana and using the forms there, because I think that's a huge part of creating systems, is having a really go-to platform. And for us as Asana, and if anybody listening or viewing is trying to get Asana working, I would love to hear about it. But we ended up creating a form that, like Blake mentioned, the shooters could go in and then put the listing address and all this different stuff. But as soon as the form's submitted, we had all of our editors on a certain project that would get notified based upon the different tags that were used in the form. So for example, if there was a photo package or a photo and video package, there was two people that got notified instead of one for just the photo. And there's different editors for the different types of service. So if it was a photo editor, they would get notified specifically. And all this stuff is all happening right there in Asana, to where is that our project managers are able to see everything. We could jump in and see everything at a very high level, and we can see where they're at in the process. There's a whole bunch of different subtasks that go ahead and show what different things have been completed within that task. So for example, you could see like a YouTube thumbnail was created if there was a video package, and that needs to go on YouTube. So a YouTube thumbnail was created, and then you could see the YouTube video was created, and then photos were edited and uploaded. So there's like a whole lot of different things you could see at a high level. So you have so many people involved in this process, it makes it really easy to keep an eye on what's happening and where things fall off. Same thing with our revision. We have an entire process for that, where people are getting notified via Slack. I get everything sent to my phone via Slack. So that's another platform that we use. So I think that it's really important to have certain softwares and platforms and really just harness the heck out of that specific one. There's a couple others that we have too, but I'm not going to jump into it because I think my story kind of turned a little too long. But
I love that, and I remember losing sleep over this before we had the systems. Like I would literally be dreaming about the upload time. And I'd wake up in the morning and like, damn it, these files didn't. And I'd be waking up at 4, 5, 6 in the morning just to make sure that they're uploaded, so that way our editors had it and our clients weren't complaining. So having that system dialed out is truly instrumental in being able to manage thousands of projects that we do each year. I definitely appreciate those systems because they've grown a lot. I mean, I remember we had actually templates. It was like an email template that was like we would email to our editors, and it was like, hey, we have this upload. And before then, I mean, we would stay up at night until the upload was finished, and then we'd be like, okay, there's 60 files, right? But it was just like, man, it was just pain and agony without the systems. And now it's like we could actually sleep good at night.
yeah, it's funny too. And when I mentioned you falling asleep, I know that you would fall asleep, but I could always count on you to wake up at like 4 or 5 a.m. and finish the job. So I think that's worth mentioning, is that I'm like, I know he fell asleep, but he's gonna wake up. So
I want to touch on something you brought up, Nate, which is really helped like my process is the ability what you brought up was that you can see everything together because there's a lot of bottleneck before where one person was having this direct line of communication, but there's no transfer of information for what was need to be done after the fact. So having the system in place in terms of listing media and people uploading is everyone can look at it collectively and jump in and be hands-on if need be for the better journey for everyone else. I think that's super important and I love it. I think it helps. I think we can all speak to this, but it really just helps expedite this whole entire thing in this particular system.
Oh yeah, I love it. I mean, I love creating things. I remember Montana when you first joined us, and you were talking about social media management, or you're talking about the different process, like how it was a pain, like sending somebody a folder each month. I was just like, hold my coffee, like let me take care of this. I think within a couple days, I ended up. It was a lot though. It was hard, but I ended up creating a pretty cool system for us all to use and just to kind of talk really briefly because I know that I've been talking a lot, but the way that it kind of works is that when somebody automatically signs on and purchases our software, they go into an onboarding pipeline. And as soon as Montana has that call, like that's where the magic starts. And I turned a process of probably like 20 different steps into like a 3 main step type of thing. And I think that's where the magic happens is when you can take something very complex and just make it super simple to where is that it's a 3-step process instead of a 20. And there's automatically folders, which I did not know. I think we've been sleeping on Google Drive and we've been using Dropbox, which I just do not like at all. But one of the cool things about Google Drive is all the different connections that you can have in it. And just being able to send off a Google Drive folder and have people access it that are not necessarily like a team member, such as Dropbox, where you can't just like upload things if you're not, a user within that team and stuff like that. It just makes it very easy to work autonomously. And I think that, yeah, we've definitely been sleeping on Google Drive. So I'm glad that we created that.
Oh, don't you worry, Nate, because since we had our meeting about the process, I have since discovered more things that can make it better. So we should.
Oh, awesome. Excellent. I love it.
I have some more work for you. I was thinking
Snaps.
snap because this is the first one. I think also you made it so simple that I was overcomplicating it, which is just crazy because I was like, wait, there's no way. I'm like, I have to send this email, I have to do this because like that's what I'm used to doing at, and I was like, there's no way don't have to do anything. This is insane. So yeah, I have some work for you next week.
It's funny you say that because I think that Logan and I have made a challenge for everybody that we work with is that we challenge you to break things and we want you to work as least as possible. And that's kind of, I feel, a mantra that we've had that it's like, we're not trying to make you grind. Like we've done the grinding. We don't want people who are working with us to grind. We want to expedite just your whole journey when working with us because it's just going to make us all move faster. So yeah, I welcome the challenge of some other things that we can fix.
Trust the system.
Trust the system.
No, like I think you guys are teaching me what a system is. There are people that their brains like don't work that way. I feel like I'm more of a creative person. Nate's more like a let me do this. So I'm like I've learned so much just in this past few months. So we're cooking.
Cool.
We kind of jumped ahead because we were going to talk about like a few lessons that we learned from Alex Hormozi, and one of the middle one was systems, and I feel like we just knocked that one out. But one of the other ones is the power of a resistible offer. So Alex says that your offer should be so good people feel stupid saying no. Logan, what do you think makes an offer truly irresistible?
I think that in the forefront, you have to compete amongst, the competition. You have to have a really, really good, process, a really good offer all around. But as far as a irresistible offer where someone's going to come in, it's hard because, in the beginning in the very early days of our business, we worked a lot for free just to show people what we're capable of. And that really helped. But at this point, we don't really work for free anymore because we've already built our reputation. So, our I would love to say our reputation, our brand is irresistible. But talking about an offer, I would say like you have to create something that's win-win, a win-win offer that, giving like some sort of like if we're talking about social media, and selling social media, have it be like, hey, kind of your product just has to speak for itself, and it has to do it. Because I mean, Alex Hormozi's a bit different, where it's like he's talking about gym offers and selling a different type of product. He's probably more like B2C, we're more B2B. So it's hard to make something irresistible, but it's because that's a strong word. That's a very strong word.
I think what makes you guys different too, the whole like the 20, like kind of what we've talked about before too, like you do something different than what other businesses do. You give it to people in 24 hours. You do all these things, like something that makes people want to do it more, work with you guys versus other people.
I guess you could say our brand and our style and how we do things. I think that a lot of people see our stuff and they're like, who did this? And they come to us. So I think that's just deep within our brand. I could totally see that. Yeah. That's probably, just our customer experience and our deliverables is probably what's having people come to us,
I think I can kind of add to that a little bit, because I think that there's a few things when thinking about offers that you have to keep in mind, right? Is the price ultimately is going to be something that pushes the needle. Benefits, such as what kind of different solutions that you're offering, as well as like the customer service, that is going to be a big determiner in making this really irresistible. And I think that if you're creating an offer, for example, like what we're trying to do with Omni and the software that we're trying to sell, is that there's some other players in the market. You can take Follow Up Boss, for example. They're very, very big. They're owned now by Zillow. But in order for us to compete with a certain product, we have to compare and contrast the different features and benefits that we are providing in this offer. And if we're able to, since it's software, we can create whatever price it is, right? So automatically we can undercut their price. Then what we can do to have some sort of irresistible factor is add more benefits. So if we're able to beat them on the price, we're able to add more benefits, then all we have to worry about next is the customer service and follow up to make sure that they're constantly happy when doing business with us. And I think that really could create an irresistible offer. And I think that's what we did in the very beginning. Was we saw where the prices were, so much so undercutting our competitors that they came to us and said, what are you doing? Like, raise your prices. And it was something that we were afraid of doing because we had this irresistible offer and people were buying it up like crazy. They couldn't believe that it was so cheap for the value that we were providing. So I think that's a little bit more in depth of how to create that irresistible offer.
That like literally leads into the other lesson that we learned from him, which is retention over acquisition. And I think that's something that is, you can say about you guys that you do well, because like a lot of clients that you have, you repeatedly work with and things like that. So Hormozi focuses a lot on retention and keeping them happy so they'll stick around. Logan, why do you think businesses overlook that?
So I've got a metaphor that I've used for a while now, and in the real estate marketing industry, photography industry, I like to say that the relationship between us and our clients is similar to that in a person and their barber. You typically go back to that barber if they do a good job and you have a good time and you like them, right? So why would someone switch to a new barber, right? They're either unavailable, their prices go up too high, or they don't like you. So as long as you fit within the market, you should be able to retain your customers. And I think that goes to show, that people do have loyalty to the businesses that they are doing business with. But now, if you look at it from the other perspective, if I'm trying to get new clients and I'm trying to steal their clients from that barber, why are they going to choose me, right? You have to be first and foremost ready for the business as the backup. But, you have to wait for someone to slip up, because a lot of businesses, don't pay attention to the market and they don't understand, the customer service. If they don't give that customer service, they're going to be seeking better customer service. And if their prices go up and they're looking for a better deal, we have to make sure that our prices are competitive in our market.
Oh, I love that. That's real. And Blake, we were talking earlier this week too about, speaking of new clients and things like that, and you were talking about trying to go actually like talk to people in person and do things like the area you live in is so much different than like California, and you're like, people appreciate that, people do that. So, do you think keeping customers engaged is harder than getting new ones, or what do you see for that? Like getting new ones or keeping the old ones happy?
Definitely keeping the old ones happy. I mean, there's new business with every opportunity that presents itself, but I think it takes a lot of like trial and error to get that retention side of business because I mean, you find one person and they're like, you're my go-to guy, then they're gonna keep using you for the foreseeable future until, Logan said that slip up. But I think the retention is definitely slept on for like bigger businesses because I think they're looking for quick turnaround, like just turn and burn, where we're trying to like really build with our clients and get them to stand out more. Whatever service we're providing to them helps them get to like point B, and if we're point A, right? So
I think too, with retention, Alex Hormozi has school, or I don't know if he is an owner now or just collaborates with school, but it's a community-based platform. And he uses that in order to keep a lot of his customers or clients interested in what he has to talk about. So building a community is something that we've learned is going to be really crucial, especially going into the new things happening here on social media. Being everywhere is going to really start with the community that you build. So I think that that's something worth noting too, is that it doesn't just end at the service that you provide, that you could do a lot of other things in order to retain the people that you sell service or product to or whatever it is.
That's so real. So real. And speaking of, you said something that just made me think of something, like the retaining people and like the social media. We don't own any of our social media. So like if you don't have people's like emails, things like that, like an app goes away, the retention is like gone. Do you have everyone's, info, stuff like that? So I don't know. That just made me think of that.
It's crazy.
TikTok.
About TikTok, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see if that happens.
That's the app I do the best on. Like, I'm so sad. That's the only app that's ever loved me like that.
Something I'm going to personally work on is YouTube, actually. So it's going to go hand in hand with what we're doing in business. But the whole process really is to build on YouTube, mostly for showing people like what it is that we do. So as far as like trying to convert people into Omni users, it's going to be really big because I feel YouTube is where people go to for more long form content and tutorials and stuff like that. So if somebody's helping you out, you're probably more inclined to stick around and hear what they have to say next. There's a lot of YouTubers that I have listened to and that I've gotten a lot of value from. And whenever I have a question on the certain topic that they speak about, I go to them first because I just am kind of loyal in that aspect. Is they've already given me value once. There's all these other people talking about value, but I like how they break things down. And I think that that's really going to help us in our business because there's so much to talk about in a lot of the different software that we use and the features that we have to offer. So if we can help people out and they can find value in it, I think chances are they may want to use what it is that we're trying to offer them. So
Nate, you shouldn't have told me that, because now I'm going to give you more homework. I'm going to give you more homework because I'm like, this is a great idea for the YouTube of just Loom stuff you could do. That would be great. Yeah. I just bought, YouTube is my 2025 goal as well. Like I just bought like a course on it to like learn how to do it better. So yeah, I'm excited. So I think the one of the other biggest lessons about Hormozi is and his wife, like we could do a whole one about his wife too. He's big on investing in yourself. Nate, you're constantly improving skills like we just talked about. How do you decide where to focus, personal growth, business growth? How do you decide where to focus?
that's funny. I actually was thinking about this in the shower the other day because that's probably the number one place where I go to reflect and I can just breathe for a second. And I'm not, I guess, really breathing into taking a second because I'm still thinking about work sometimes. But I got the idea and the concept when I went into Asana the other day, and I just had so much. I was like, man, there's so many things to do, so many things to focus on. And I really harnessed the priority feature field in the different tasks. So I had all the different stuff that I needed to do. And then I first went into the way that I prioritize the priority of that task. And the way I did it was whatever you guys needed, our team needed, was automatically high priority. I didn't want to be the bottleneck for our team that needed to complete their tasks. Second, I was like, okay, I have clients. So like it was team, clients, and then personal. And what I ended up doing next was, okay, our clients, if they're needing something or whatnot, chances are they're going to be pushed back a little bit, mostly if they don't have a deadline, right? So if they needed it something like super fast, today was the day, and that would probably exceed a lot of other things. But as far as not needing a specific deadline, it would go to clients and then my personal stuff. So if I had personal tasks or like changing stuff on the website that needed to be done, that was all stuff that was how I prioritized just the priority of that task. So I would say as far as like the skills go and the personal growth, it'd be kind of last on the list, but I do learn a lot personally and I harness a lot of my skills by choosing different things to focus on. And over the last couple of years, I've actually dedicated like certain years to learning different softwares. And those have helped our business, and each year has been a different one. So yeah, that's kind of how I do it.
I love that. Logan, do you think entrepreneurs take enough time to invest in themselves, or are we just always thinking about the business?
I think we could define what an entrepreneur is. If you're an owner operator, you're kind of, I wouldn't say you're on the journey to entrepreneurship, but I think true entrepreneurship knows that you need to invest in learning new things and bringing new opportunities for your team and your business. So I don't think young entrepreneurs do it enough and they don't see the true value in it, but you can learn so much from mentorship and from people that have already done it before. So, you know, if you're a solo entrepreneur, it might be a little more difficult. Luckily, I had Nate in the early days, so we can collaborate with each other. We both, you know, are always learning a lot. There's so much value to be learned on like social media. So, you know, over the past few years, if you were to see Nate and I's DMs, they're literally just like business stuff and this stuff and inspiration. So I think, you know, that collaboration is very important and mentorship is just as important.
I know you guys talked about Ryan Serhant a couple podcasts ago, but he talks about his three P's for entrepreneurship, and it's people, product, profit in that order. And those just connect the dots to how to continue to grow like your brand, if you will. And those in that particular order, you know, you need the people to acquire the product and the people and the product to acquire better systems for your team, and then your team kind of trickles down within those particular areas. But I think it kind of just piggybacks off Nate's initial point. But
I love that. Like, if you ever want to just chime in, I want you to chime in. You know, we missed you those couple weeks. It just wasn't the same.
yeah, I apologize for missing. I was a little busy bee over here, but we're back. That's my goal here at 2025 podcasting.
Just buzzing, retaining all the customers. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. This has been fun. This has been great. I feel like I learned a lot. Like, I love a system. That is one thing I have learned, and it's really changing everything. So what's one key takeaway from Hormozi's story that really resonates with you, Logan?
Definitely trust the system and always look for ways to improve it. And like Blake said, the three P's: people, product, and profit. So similar to the barbershop, if you love your barber, you're probably going to stay there. So make that the best experience ever.
All right. What about you, Nate?
Yeah, I think that systems are key. Trust the system.
Trust the system.
That quote is throwing me off because it's usually trust the process. So what's the difference for someone that is just
Process has more vision intertwined with it.
Yeah, I think that a system could be related to like specific automations, right? So if you had a process, it could be what needs to be done, right? If you were to say social management needs to be done, need a post here, here, and here. Okay, that's great. Well, like, what's the system? How do you start? What's the first step? What's the second step? What's the third? So I think that you could look at it kind of similarly, but I think ultimately the way that we see it is that a system is going to be a process that is automated or something that is just repeatable that we could just really scale.
Your YouTube channel, Trust the System with Nate.
Strawbinger systems.
Okay, Blake, what is one lesson you learned as we close this out?
Gonna keep it cliche. Trust the system.
Yes.
Trust the system.
Before I wrap this up, is there anything else anyone wants to chime in?
Yeah, I hope everyone's safe in LA. All of our LA clients. I hope everyone's doing okay over there. If you guys need anything, we're here for you guys. Montana obviously is in LA area, but our hearts and prayers go out to those families over there.
No, we appreciate it. And, I know that it's tough, and something too that I told you was like, work can always wait. So you just got to make sure that you take care of yourself first. And like Blake said, for anybody who's needing help, we're totally here to help. Just let us know how.
So if you enjoyed today's episode, got any value from it, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram at Clout Agents, and leave us a 5-star in the Apple Store.